Okay, I'm very aware that I'm running out of time. So, looking at some other things that we're capable of doing within the multi-part configuration, which you can set up within the tool as well. So if you go right to the top of this specification tool, there is a number of global settings. So these are settings which generally appear within the configuration node of your multi-part config. And these are things which apply to the entire multi-part product, not to individual parts. So there's different configurations of things. It's mostly true or false, or just excluding them from the XML completely. It's things like controlling the type of preview that you want to do, specifying whether or not previewing is mandatory, specifying whether or not people have to go through the upload editor at all, or they can just add straight to basket and deal with the artwork later. Just various different yes or no settings, just controlling different elements of the user experience. There's descriptions on there. You can play around with those and see what configurations work for you. What we also have is localization options. So this is very useful for those that have multiple languages working on one storefront. You're going to want it so that if someone's operating their storefront in a particular language setting, they have titles and descriptions that are shown in that particular language. So there's an option in here to facilitate that. So let's just add French, for example. And how that actually gets added to our config is for every single part that we've specified, the UI name and UI description fields will now have a separate localization option underneath, which allows you to put in a particular language string if that particular language is specified on your storefront. So you see, for example, we've got, just going here, I've got a UI description, which is upload interior pages, but then I've got a localization option. So if the storefront is set to French, I can change what this text is going to be so it shows in the appropriate language. And finally, again, a big caveat, it's not recommended for most users. We have a number of advanced options. Now, primarily, this is to do with configuring things like 3D preview or a flipbook preview. It's a bit more advanced. I won't go through these in much detail now through time constraints and the fact that it's a whole other can of worms, a whole other topic. But this is just to give you a feel and an impression for what kind of options are required or available when you're trying to specify different preview types. So for example, if I go to 3D as a preview option, you can see there's a lot of potential different things that we have to specify. Chances are, if you do want to play around with these, you will probably need guidance from the Infigo team. So you can use this for reference. You can play around with it if you want to do so, but you probably will need guidance to implement those. One of the easiest things you can do, just to backtrack on that, is to actually get a kind of flipbook preview, which we saw on one of our examples. Again, it's not quite worked on my live demonstration, but hopefully you get the idea. So this allows you to actually have this sort of flipbook animation that some of you might have seen on static PDF products, for example. Implementing that one does use the advanced tools, but it's quite simple to do so. All you need to do is go to a standard preview, ironically, rather than flip. And then you say force page flip is true. And that will force the preview window into that flipbook mode. So you can play around with that one as well. And that's the only config you would need.